The U.S. military fires, intercepts, and engages with UFOs regularly. Not just the U.S. military, but other governments as well around the world. This is an important point to bring up, and I talk about it a lot because not enough people are talking about this. But this is, like I say, it's pretty important, right? If we are at war with the aliens or the beings, and sometimes they are firing at us, I mean, it's hard to get more important than that, and more people need to be talking about this. And today, this information isn't just coming from me. I'm going to present videos from Lou Elizondo, Sean Cahill, and Ross Coulthart, all talking about this. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share this video on social media, and please join me on Facebook and Twitter. I would really appreciate that. It'd be awesome to interact with you guys there. And please comment on the story as I'm going through it. Yeah, so I talk about how the U.S. military engages with UFOs all the time because I think it's that important. If we are in conflict with beings from another planet or dimension, or maybe we're dealing with ultra-terrestrials, time travelers, the people from Atlantis, whatever it is that we are interacting with violently, that is of paramount importance. It really is. And but again, this information isn't just coming from me. Here's Lou Elizondo talking about this with Christina Gomez. He's giving a specific case about how our military intercepted or attempted to intercept a UFO. And then he is asked a question about other events. First, here he is talking about that first instance.
Is Project Noble Eagle, which has been in place since 9/11, and this involves a report coming in from a specific region to N2C2 command domain, which results in a rapid response with the scrambling of jet interceptions to interpret and identify aircraft that either don't show a transponder signal or enter restricted airspace, among other things, being perceived as a potential threat. Now, it makes sense to me that there must have been occasions where jets have been scrambled to interpret aircraft demonstrating anomalous flight characteristics, such as what we see with U.A.P. Are you aware of this being the case with any reports you've seen?
Yeah, Christina, it happens a lot more than you might think. I had the honor and privilege of speaking with a former watch officer at NORAD, a colonel, which, as most people know, is fairly senior in rank. I mean, this is not a spring chicken. This is somebody who's being groomed probably for general officer and some significant command positions. And so the watch officer's job is just that. It's to watch the skies, watch what's going on, have persistent situation awareness of the airspace. And one of the incidents that he was recalling to us was that they picked up a U.A.P. Up over Canada. And as you said before, Canada and the U.S. share a airspace together, especially over North America. And so we cooperate together. In fact, the deputy commander of NORAD is a Canadian. A lot of people don't know that. So we work together to protect our skies together. And there was a UAP coming in out of Canada, very, very fast, very, very high, to the point where the commander on the ground there at NORAD said, "I want you to launch everything we have against this thing and catch it. I want to know what this thing is." And as this thing continued and was pursued by our aircraft, it continued over the eastern seaboard and wound up leaving U.S. airspace somewhere over Florida towards Cuba. And we weren't ever able to catch it. Now think about what that means, right? The best and the strongest country in the world with some of the most sophisticated aircraft, despite the commander saying, throw everything we have at it and try to catch this thing, we weren't able to do it. And so that's just one example of many where NORAD has been engaged in these things. But let's preface this. NORAD isn't necessarily going to call them UAP, okay, or UFOs. Chances are they're going to call them something else, probably something to the tune of unresolved type anomaly. And therein lies part of the problem, because when you do a Freedom of Information Act and you say, what do you have on UFOs? NORAD says, we don't, because we don't track UFOs. What we track are something else. We call them something else.
So there you have it. The U.S. military attempted to intercept a UFO, but it was too fast, which, you would normally assume, right? Of course, there are countless whistleblowers and eyewitnesses who have seen us successfully engage with these things. So apparently it is possible to intercept them and to even shoot at them. So, but what about other examples? Well, here's what he said about other examples.
Was there a significant number of those Noble Eagle cases that ended up classified as unknowns?
I'm not going to comment on something that might or might not be classified. I have to be very careful with that. As you know, Christina, and some of your listeners, I still hold a security clearance. I still am obligated to protect classified information, and I intend to do so. So I don't want to say anything that could compromise in any way some sort of national security capability. So as far as what might be classified and what might be unclassified, unless I'm sure something is unclassified, I just simply can't talk about it.
Yeah, so we're not going to be able to get any information about a blue out of that at the moment. Whether we've engaged these things on other times and other ways, that information will have to come out later. And here's what Sean Cahill had to say about the famous Italian incident where there was a series of fires that UFOs apparently were starting. A government helicopter went to check it out, and apparently it didn't go just to check it out. Here's Sean.
Unlikely that it was extraterrestrial or super unusual. And he'd said, in the history of the UFO topic, we've never been successful in trying to shoot down a UFO, a real UFO. And by that he meant extraterrestrial craft. So, yeah.
Staying away from the rumor mill on that one. And I mean, and even leaving Roswell and again, the rumors that surround that and aside, I can see where that would placate a mainstream audience. With its wisdom, but the fact is that the Italians revealed to the ATIP program, to Luis Elizondo, that they had managed to strike a U.A.P. with depleted uranium rounds, and that U.A.P. had then in turn fired on their aircraft. That was released during the Unidentified, I believe, at the end of season 1 on History Channel that we were a part of. Now we don't have many other reports of American or even or Allied or Soviet folks fighting or firing on UAP and having any kind of success. And I think most of us would agree that they must be advanced technology, and of course we wouldn't be able to hit them. But again, it's a fallacy. It's a logical jump, and it's an assumption. And I think we need to stop making these kind of assumptions and just say, fine, what is it?
So that's a wrinkle I hadn't heard before, or at least I had forgotten, that the helicopter didn't simply go out to see what the UFOs were doing. It was sent out to discourage the UFOs from doing it, which would be a normal thing. You've got UFOs starting fires. Well, of course, you're going to go shoot it with some depleted uranium rounds, right? Now, my understanding is that depleted uranium rounds, if I can say that word, is a anti-tank ordnance. So this helicopter had anti-tank ordnance on it. I don't think it was sent out there to interact with the UFOs with this ordnance accidentally. It was clearly sent out to shoot at the UFOs with this depleted uranium round ordnance. Does this mean this is a normal occurrence, that this is how they normally shoot at them? I would be very interested to find out, because I have reported on this channel numerous ways that we fire at UFOs with just regular bullets and missiles. However unlikely that sounds, that apparently does work sometimes. Energy weapons, and as talked about by Colonel Philip J. Corso and others. And now we have depleted uranium rounds. So, all different ways that apparently we shoot at UFOs, and occasionally even bringing them down. Anyway, really interesting. I would be really fascinated to learn more about that. Is that a regular ordnance that we use against them, these depleted uranium rounds? It makes sense if we're using anti-tank rounds against UFOs, I guess. Yeah, more information would be great. But of course, they don't talk about this stuff. Anyway. So, but we do have people like Lou and Sean and also Ross talking about this. Here's Ross Coulthart talking about us intercepting UFOs. And he's actually, I believe, relaying information from Chris Mellon. Here goes.
The point is, there's two issues that come out of what we now know. One, you have a former Deputy Assistant Undersecretary of Defense from Chris Mellon saying, flatly accusing the Air Force of essentially being uncooperative. And he actually goes on to say there are more serious cases that the Air Force did not report, including, it now seems, cases where US and/or Canadian Air Forces scrambled fighter jet to intercept U.A.P. This is an allegation from a former very senior defense official who is saying the US Air Force is being uncooperative. Now, roll forward from the context of what he's talking about there, which is a broad range of incidents over the roughly 20 years since 2004. The clear messaging that is coming through, the contradictions are coming from, drumroll, largely the US Air Force,
Yes.
NORAD. You had Major Olivier Gallant, the spokesman for NORAD, declaring on Sunday, very shortly after the shootdown, we know what these objects are. The arrogance of NORAD, the arrogance of the US Air Force, that subsequently the public were told they're not allowed to know why the US Air Force knows what it knows.
So there you have it. We regularly engage with UFOs. The military intercepts them. Occasionally it fires at them. I've given one example today of us firing at them. And this was the Italian military government firing at them with anti-tank rounds. But I've also talked on this channel numerous times about examples where we have fired on them in other ways, not the Italian military, but the U.S. military. That's just a thing that occurs regularly. At the same time, I think it's important to highlight that I have also talked about on this channel numerous times about the evidence that we seem to be working with the beings. The Terry Lovelace story, for example, which was vetted by Lou Elizondo. He saw over 50 U.S. military and government people aboard a giant UFO. We were working with the beings abducting people. So, and that is not an isolated case. That there are countless experiencers that report the same thing. We're working with some of the beings. We are firing at others of the beings. So it's just, I'm putting this out there because I think it's important to know. It's crazy. It seems so unlikely. I totally get it. If you're skeptical of all this, I totally get it, guys. So that's why I'm presenting this evidence. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share this video on social media. Also consider joining me on Facebook and Twitter. That'd be awesome. Consider becoming a channel member to support the channel. See the first line in the description below. Comment below. Let me know what you think, guys. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.